It is Tuesday, December 10th. I'm Jamie Stelter. Here are the stories we're following this morning. 26-year-old Luigi Mangione has been charged with murder and is awaiting extradition to New York for the killing of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson. He was arrested at a McDonald's in Pennsylvania.
In this case, it really came down to technology was the use of drones in Central Park, and really comes down to the video canvas that we did.
The drones and those surveillance photos. Chief Detective Joseph Kenny credits the investigation success to the use of all of the police technology. Police recovered key evidence, including a gun, fake IDs, and writings that could link him to the crime. A Manhattan jury found Marine veteran Daniel Penny not guilty in the subway chokehold death of Jordan Neely. After the acquittal, Penny and his lawyers gathered at the Stone Street Tavern in the Financial District to celebrate. And Governor Hochul proposing the state's first ever inflation refund. Her office estimates more than 8 million New Yorkers could be eligible statewide. This is Mornings on One. To get to on this Tuesday morning. Pat enjoying the rest of his time off. He will be back tomorrow. For those of you who miss him, myself included. But Steph has been here with me, and today it is foggy out there. We want to show you what's happening outside and how not easy it is to see some of what's going on.
Yeah, you know, been watching these traffic cameras all morning. This is the GW Bridge from the vantage point of the West Side Highway. Here's another shot. You can just see all these traffic cameras. Like you said earlier, the higher you go, the less the visibility is, but it's been patchy, and I imagine it's giving people some troubles out there.
That's why I went for a gray suit and a brown tie. It's just kind of a gray, dark day out there.
Dress for the weather.
Dress for the weather. I wish I had some sunshine, but you know what? In due time, later in the week, we'll have some sun accompanied with some cold weather. But for today, just remember patchy fog, damp conditions. We could find some drizzle out there, but cloudy skies. This evening, showers roll in, and then heavy rain tomorrow, plus strong winds. I'll have more on that coming up in about 10 minutes.
The man suspected in the murder of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson is now in custody. Luigi Mangione, a 26-year-old Ivy League graduate, was arrested at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania yesterday after an employee there recognized him from surveillance photos that had been put out, and he called the police. On him, police recovered a gun, 4 fake IDs, and writings linking him to the ambush last week. Mangione is charged with murder and awaiting extradition back to New York. New York One's Alyssa Palicelli joins us from outside the Manhattan District's Attorney Office with the latest developments in the case. Alyssa, what a wild few days it has been.
It has, an all ending in a McDonald's in a Pennsylvania town very far away from Midtown where this all happened. Now, that extradition hearing that could bring Luigi Mangione back to New York could happen as early as today. That is after the Manhattan District Attorney's Office filed those murder charges as well as other charges late last night. A chance sighting inside a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, more than 200 miles away from Midtown Manhattan, brought a nationwide manhunt to an end. An observant customer allegedly noticed 26-year-old Luigi Mangione sitting in the back of the restaurant, wearing a mask and similar clothing seen in the photos circulated by police of their person of interest in the case involving the murder of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson. That customer informed an employee, and that employee called 911.
The McDonald's employee did something we ask every American to do. If you see something, say something, but most importantly, do something.
Not long after local police arrived, Mangione, an Ivy League graduate from a wealthy Maryland real estate family, was taken into custody. Police said when they asked the 26-year-old if he had been to New York City recently, he became nervous and uncomfortable. Inside the backpack he had on him, police found a 3D printed pistol and silencer, similar to the weapon used to kill the 50-year-old healthcare executive. A fraudulent New Jersey ID matching the one the suspect used to check into a Manhattan hostel before the shooting was also recovered, along with a 3-page document giving investigators some insight to his mindset and motive.
We don't think that there's any specific threats to other people mentioned in that document, but it does seem that he has some ill will toward corporate America.
Mangione remains in jail in Pennsylvania, where he was also charged with possession of an unlicensed firearm, forgery, and providing false identification to police. And as Manhattan prosecutors await for Mangione to return to the city, the NYPD is continuing their investigation, collecting evidence and looking into Mangione's past and social media presence. A former roommate from his time living in Hawaii says Mangione had a lingering back issue.
I knew he was going to have a surgery, so earlier this year I checked in with him. He confirmed that he had surgery, and he sent me the x-rays. It looked heinous with just giant screws going into his spine. After that, he called me once. I didn't pick up. We kind of texted a little bit, but unfortunately, I feel terrible now. I wish, I would have made more of an effort to communicate with him.
Now, the UnitedHealthcare Group, that's the company in which the CEO, Brian Thompson, worked for, they did release a statement on this arrest saying that they hope that it brings the Thompson family some relief, and they thank law enforcement for their efforts. The Mangione family, they also released a statement saying in part that they are shocked and devastated by Luigi's arrest and offered prayers to the Thompson family as well, Jamie.
Alyssa, it is so wild as we get all these more details and we're hearing from the family and hearing from friends. There will still be so much more to come on this.
There will be, and the NYPD is continuing to look into his past and talking to those family members and friends to piece together exactly what they can learn about this individual and why he may have committed this crime.
All right, Alyssa, outside the Manhattan District Attorney's office, thank you. Meantime, our other top story this morning, a Manhattan jury found Marine veteran Daniel Penny not guilty in the subway chokehold death of Jordan Neely. The courtroom erupted when the verdict was announced yesterday. Supporters of Penny were cheering and clapping, while the family of Jordan Neely responded in anger. Neely's father had to be escorted out of the courtroom by officers for making remarks then, but he spoke to reporters outside afterwards.
I just want to say, I miss my son. My son didn't have to go through this. I didn't have to go through this either. It hurts. I had enough of this. The system is rigged.
After the acquittal, Penny and his lawyers gathered at the Stone Street Tavern in the Financial District to celebrate.
Well, he's not guilty on a few different reasons. Because his actions were justified. He was trying to help people on that train, and he did. And number two, he's not responsible for the death because the death was caused by a lot of other factors that we tried to present with a lot of clarity, such as the K2 abuse and the sickling crisis, and cardiac issues. Not to mention the paranoid schizophrenia, which only added to that impact. So I'm just glad that the jury was able to truly evaluate that as a potential cause of death, and that Danny was justified in the actions that he took.
Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg was not in the courtroom when the verdict was read, but he did release a statement that says, in part, their lengthy deliberation and the totality of the facts and the evidence underscored why this case was put in front of a jury of Mr. Penny's peers. The jury has now spoken. At the Manhattan DA's office, we deeply respect the jury process and we respect their verdict. It also prompted emotional reactions outside the courtroom, demonstrators chanting murder as well as Jordan Neely's name. The scene escalated as protesters clashed with some NYPD officers there. One person was arrested. Organizers later approached the group, telling them to instead channel their anger into positive action for their communities. A new Siena poll out this morning finds a majority of New York voters want the state to support President-elect Trump's efforts to deport illegal migrants. While an overwhelming percentage of Republicans, 87%, support the measure, 38% of Democrats also agree that the state should cooperate with the efforts. In the city, 51% of voters think the state should work with the feds to deport those living here illegally. New Yorkers might be getting a check in the mail soon. Governor Hochul yesterday proposing the state's first ever inflation refund. The plan would send direct payments of up to $300 a month to New Yorkers earning less than $150,000 a year. Eligible families could get up to $500. The checks will be funded by state sales tax revenue.
I believe that this extra inflation-driven sales tax revenue shouldn't be spent by the state. It's your money, and it should be back in your pockets.
Hochul's office estimates more than 8 million New Yorkers statewide would be eligible, including 3 million here in the city. The plan does need to be approved by state lawmakers. After years of restoration work, the Waldorf Astoria is finally ready to welcome back visitors. Starting today, the hotel will begin accepting reservations for its spring reopening. No word yet on how much it'll cost to spend the night in one of the rooms, but the historic hotel was originally slated to reopen in 2020. We have reported along the way that it has been plagued by construction delays. The city is lifting its ban on open flames and fireworks following the recent rain. It's unclear if that means that the New Year's Eve fireworks in Central Park and Prospect Park, which had been canceled, will be rescheduled. New Yorkers are still being asked to conserve water as the city remains under drought warning, something that we'll continue to talk to Guy about and something that we also know might be until the spring, till we know really its full effects.
Yeah, the only people or animals that would be happy without the fireworks, the dogs.
Yeah.
Right? Dogs do not like the fireworks.
That is true.
They would be happy with no fireworks show on New Year's. If you're just heading out right now, we do have a handful of delays to tell you about. Still seeing these southbound delays on our 1 train because of that signal issue at 14th. New delays in both directions on our E trains right now because brakes activated out near Kennedy Airport. And still seeing these northbound delays on our D trains because of that switch issue still impacting things at Coney Island, Stillwell Avenue, and these NRW delays in both directions as well, still in effect right now because of that signal issue ongoing at Queensboro Plaza. Again, today, another gridlock alert day, the first of every day this week. That'll be the case. And right now, the big story this morning for traffic is the fog, right? But this actually, it's not too bad here at the Grand Central Parkway at Jewel Avenue. And this is a high camera. You can see a whole lot of brake lights. It is very crowded there on the Grand Central Parkway, but good to know that the fog has lifted a bit, at least in that part of Queens. As Guy's been telling us, it's been patchy. It's been moving throughout different parts of the city all morning. The good news, though, it hasn't caused any crashes out on our roads. We're just seeing our typical volume for this hour. Alternate side and meter rules are in effect.
Thank you, Steph. 8:11 right now, looking over towards Hudson Yards. And, you know, it's been foggy out there. It also is pretty warm. That's another thing. You don't need that heavy coat that you've been wearing for much of the last week or so.
Low clouds, and yes, I have the perfect rain jacket for today. It's not too heavy, and I went ahead.
You have the best jackets, we should say.
Thank you. I went ahead and just ditched my my hat as well because you really don't need. We've been talking about the wind chills, and you really don't need to really dress for the chill today. I mean, temperatures are already above average at this time of day, and we're only going to go even warmer too. And a warm front, the warm air that Jamie was talking about, that's a part of this entire weather story. That's one element that's going to add the rain tomorrow and really just kind of keep things unsettled. So mid-50s this afternoon, and tonight showers will move in. So for today, you don't have to worry about planning for rain or anything like that. Just some patchy drizzle, so a hood would be good. But tonight, rain. So have the umbrellas ready to go. And then tomorrow morning, some downpours. And it's all a part of what you see here down in the southeastern portion of the country. That's just going to hook to the north. And then that will be responsible for some downpours tomorrow and even some embedded thunderstorms and gusty winds. Cold air behind it, you'll see highs in the mid-30s on Friday.
Up next on the show, sports in Springfield. We have a look inside a special Simpsons edition of Monday Night Football last night.